So we need to invest in education. But we're providing for tertiary institution scholarship, 5 billion in our budget. And we have 6 billion to build car park for legislators. Is that because of colonialism? So let's talk about our own this thing. So this is where we start. We don't have a national library. As a country, the #1 country in Africa, our national library was awarded in 1995, and it's being built to today. But our legislators are providing 3 billion to buy books for their own library. This is not the issue of colonialism. It is the issue I want us to start dealing with our problem. I don't believe that at this stage, anybody is the problem of Africa except Africans themselves. And I want the youth to start dealing with the issue head on.
So this next clip I want you guys to watch is still about the New Africa Foundation Convention in Ghana that was supposed to hold. But unfortunately, it was cancelled by the Ghanaian authority. No one knows why. And this has sparked a lot of controversies in Ghana. When I heard about this, I was quite sad because a lot of people came there just to listen to these inspirational speakers talk. And a lot of preparations had been made before everything was cancelled. And I wonder, why would he do a thing like that? Why? You know, I was so confused because I have always thought he was someone progressive enough. He was someone who wanted Africa to grow and prosper. He was someone who think highly of Africa. But when this convention was cancelled, I was like, really? Is it really what we should be doing as Africans? Don't we want the continent to grow? Has it become in such a way that our personal interests trumped that of the nation? Don't we want a developed and prosperous Africa? And if someone is doing something that would help us get there, shouldn't we appreciate and encourage them? You know? But anyway, let's listen to what Peter Obi from Nigeria had to say. He was one of the main speakers at the event, so I'm guessing he also must have been very disappointed as to the cancellation of the convention. So let's listen.
I've always maintained consistently the problem of Africa, like Chinua Achebe said and Prof says every day, is squarely failure of leadership. It is failure of African leaders rising up to their responsibility that is keeping Africa where Africa is today, a continent of immense hope and resources. The only way to resuscitate and keep that hope is by having competent leadership, a leadership that means well. That is the only way to make a difference. As long as we continue hiring wrongly, as long as we continue having incompetent people who don't have capacity, we will remain where we are. To change that hope for the youth is to know that it requires sacrifice and everything. We talked about education. Yes, I agree with my dear sister that on issue of a colonized educated, whatever it is. But what are the leadership today doing in terms of investing in those critical areas? I was just talking to Dr. Morgan this evening, and I said to them, you don't, yes, it's good when people, and I don't argue that with you. It's good to blame others for our problem. I don't believe in blaming anybody for my problem. I deal with the problem. We are doing this evening. In my country, this year's budget is, we need, if there's anything Nigeria needs, it's human capital. Because that's what will drive our HDI. We have very low human capital. In HDI, we're 158 over 180 countries measured. So we need to invest in education. But we're providing for tertiary institution scholarship, 5 billion in our budget. And we have 6 billion to build car park for legislators. Is that because of colonialism? So let's talk about our own this thing. So this is where we start. We don't have a national library. As a country, the #1 country in Africa, our national library was awarded in 1995, and it's being built to today. But our legislators are providing 3 billion to buy books for their own library. This is not issue of colonialism. It is the issue. I want us to start dealing with our problem. I don't believe that at this stage, anybody is the problem of Africa except Africans themselves. And I want the youth to start dealing with the issue head on.
I think if you do not live in a cave, or if you are not from another planet, you would know by now that Africa has a serious leadership problem. Like the level of poor leadership in Africa is very concerning. Look through Africa. Majority of the countries in Africa have leaders who are so old that they can barely know what a keyboard is, who can barely even use a smartphone to do anything. Those are the people who are supposed to govern over the youth. Africa leadership has been very, very poor. Leaders are just there embezzling. The level of corruption and bribery and embezzlement in Africa is way out of proportion. And the funniest thing is, like, I have always pondered about this, right? Our leaders go abroad. They travel like all the time. And they see the nice buildings in China, the large road in China, the beautiful city in Singapore, the tall buildings in Paris. They go to Vietnam, they see nice things. They go to India, they see great things. How can they not replicate that in our country? How can they not do something for us in the country? How can they? And I understand that this, like I have said, prosperity and development of Africa is our collective responsibility. That I have said. And I truly believe that. But the leaders are supposed to take the lead and the masses follow suit. The leaders are supposed to be guiding us through. If we have leaders who can't even do any single thing, who cannot even fix the capital city, who cannot even provide basic things for their citizens like electricity and water and road, What kind of leader are they? You know, African leaders are so shameful. Majority of them, of course, are so shameful. Look at a country like Nigeria, with all their wealth, with all their human capital, with all their resources. Nigeria is the first oil producing nation in Africa. Nigeria is like, I think, 200 or 240 or 260 million people. It's very huge. But Nigeria doesn't have good roads on an average. They have roads in Abuja, yes, but on an average, Nigeria doesn't have good roads. Nigeria doesn't have security. The thing that will kill you in Nigeria before any other thing is insecurity. Nigeria cannot boast of a constant electricity. Everyone has generator. What kind of country is that where everyone has their own private generators? Everyone is digging boreholes to get water. It's like everybody for themselves. And the rich can do that successfully. It's like a piece of cake for the rich people because Nigeria is full of super rich people. They can do that. They can build fancy houses. They can build luxurious houses. They can buy as many cars as they want. They can even pay for their own personal security. They can buy huge generators to generate electricity for them 24/7. They live lavishly. But what about the common people? What about you and I? What about that Mama John at the corner of the street? What about that Ma Alice selling pepper at the market? What about Pa Joe who has just a shoe mending shop? What about them? How are they supposed to afford a genset? How are they supposed to dig a borehole for themselves? Leadership has ruined the future of Africa. African leaders have stolen the future of Africa. And if there is any place like hell, one would hope they go there. Honestly, one will hope they go there. The leaders in Africa are so wicked. Whenever I talk about this particular problem in Africa, I get so emotional because I look at my own home country. I look at everything we have. I look at how the common people are struggling. I look at how the personal effort is there. Like people on an individual level are doing their best, their utmost best to better up their lives. Then I look at how the government has completely failed in their responsibilities to the people. I see how government officials do things with impunity. I see how a leader, the president, who is supposed to take care of the people, somehow doesn't really care. It doesn't really care. I look at how government officials run wild. They embezzle. They misappropriate. They do terrible and horrible things. And they go scot-free. No one does anything to them. Not the leader who is supposed to put the country under control. Not the officials who are supposed to be responsible. Not the military that is supposed to be there for the people. Not the security forces that is supposed to make sure that the people are safe and secure. The entire system is broken. It's broken, my brothers and sisters. It's shattered. There is no way for a common person to really get ahead. There's no way. There's no way. In other societies, in other countries around the world, there is a path for a common person to really get ahead. Like if you really burnt the night candle, if you really work hard day in, day out, there is a chance that you might get there. But in Africa, when I look at the way at which our society operates, when I look at the way things are being done in Africa, I really do not see that path. I really do not see it. All I see is a path that has been created for the rich alone. It's a path that has been created for the powerful alone. If your parents are rich, if your parents are influential, then your future is guaranteed. It's safeguarded. If your parents are poor, if you are from a community that is so remote, then I'm sorry to inform you. I'm sorry to be a downer. I'm sorry to be so pessimistic. But there really isn't that much you can do. There isn't really that much future for you. There isn't really that much hope for you. Leadership is supposed to be the entity that creates a path for the people to navigate to success. The leader or a leader was supposed to be that person who laid the framework, who paved the road, who built that bridge that the citizens will use to move themselves to success. But when I look at Africa, my brothers and sisters, I don't see it. I really don't see it. And that is why we all must know this. We all must know that the system is broken. And we all must start thinking on how to repair it. We should repair it. We have to repair it. If we do not repair it, if we do not take the necessary steps to repair a broken system, or rather change it altogether, then we won't go anywhere. We won't go anywhere. But you guys out there, share your thoughts and opinions about the growth and development in Africa. And let us know what you think about African leadership. Has it been something that has inspired us, the African people? Should we be hopeful towards the leadership we have in Africa? Are they really delivering on what they are supposed to do for us, the African people? Let us know in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. Please do us a favor by liking this video, sharing it, and also subscribing to the channel, because that helps us a lot and we shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.